your grades at the brave who fight for you. If you don't gain, they fight in vain. Show them what you can do. Show them what you can do. Please show them what you can do. I said, in this parade, please wave your grades at the brave who fight for you. If you don't gain, they fight in vain. Show them what you can do. Show them what you can do. Please show them what you can do. You make this parade a mere charade if you're marching just for fun. Our troops must feel your thanks for real before the marching is done. They know side by side you can match their stride to the drum beat and the brass, but they're not impressed with you unless you can match their stride in class. This may not sound too diplomatic, but I cannot be more emphatic as I tell you, it's problematic when you do less than your best, especially when it's because you put your brilliance on pause for the mere peer applause it draws from a so-called friend doing less. Quit playing, I'm saying, you know that you are great, and we know it, so show it. Don't make our heroes wait. In this parade, please wave your grades at the brave who fight for you. If you don't gain, they fight in vain. Show them what you can do. Show them what you can do. Please show them what you can do. For those of you who already do the things that make us proud, your nation in appreciation says thanks to you out loud. Your schoolmates should imitate the way you tap your potential. Let me try to convince them why their effort is essential. Our men and women in uniform, before, during, and after Desert Storm, always perform above the norm, anywhere and everywhere on the planet. They need to follow our heroes' lead, but they cannot lead if they cannot read. Allow me, please, to plant this seed. Don't take freedom for granted. I'm serious, I'm furious to see U.S. schools behind. Remove the clatter, it's just a matter of our making up our minds. In this parade, please wave your grades at the brave who fight for you. If you don't gain, they fight in vain. Show them what you can do. Show them what you can do. Please show them what you can do. We believe in you, warriors protect you to do what you must to rise. Please do your part. Please start before another warrior dies. In this parade, please wave your grades at the brave who fight for you. If you don't gain, they fight in vain. Show them what you can do. Show them what you can do. Please show them what you can do. They sacrifice for you. Show them what you can do. Please show them what you can do. Please.
Good afternoon and welcome to Wave Your Grades on KUAW.org, the academic patriotism program that is dedicated to veterans and serious secondary scholars. I am your announcer, Clay Wilson. Now our host, civilian urban educator, Carl Wood.
So very much. This is Saturday, July 5th, the weekend of the holiday. And in as much as it is July 5th, that makes it the first Saturday of the month. The first Saturday of the month, Wave Your Grades on KUAW.org is proud and pleased to enjoy the input of the Smart Club of attorney Valencia Broadus and those whom she has brought us. We always look forward to their conversation, to their concerns, to their input, because these are indeed the young people that the program is for. So that means that as we say that we dedicate the program to those who have served, asking that American students strive for excellence in honor of our troops, and then we dedicate the program to those who are serving and have served, asking them to continue serving by motivating the young people who are currently in secondary school. Now, here's a good thing about the Smart Club. Valencia brought us, and those young people have been with us long enough so that they are not all yet
in high school. Some are alumni, if you will. Some are those who have now become mentors. And so that we have the phenomenon of proteges and mentors within the Smart Club because they have been together long enough to have, quote, some of the older, unquote, than those she brings us on the first Saturday. Now, one of the most wonderful things that I can imagine, that I can appreciate, will be brought to us this afternoon because of the age of those who will be participating. Sometimes we really underestimate the involvement, the concern, if you will, the astuteness of young people, even high school age, about current events. I want Valencia Broadus, when she does indeed come on, to introduce not only the young people who are going to be participating, but also to introduce the subject matter of the program. So I won't, quote, steal her thunder, unquote, but I will say that I cannot express my appreciation emphatically enough for the concern and the astuteness of the young people who participate with us. Let us just say that now we have the opportunity to observe an America that has great attention being paid to the political landscape, not just local, and these young people are locally involved, no doubt about it, but nationally. Now, if indeed they are concerned about what is national, that absolutely means that they also have to be concerned about what is international, because what is national impacts all of those who support and, by the way, in some cases are detractors from these United States of America. And one of the things that our program, Wave Your Grades, wants to emphasize on an ongoing basis is how important these young people are. And I am going to, by the way, because of our technical difficulty, we will have to repeat some of what I am saying, so I will be repeating some of this. But I want to say, putting in context how important these young people are, that for the newspaper published by Eric Wesson, The Next Page KC, Eric Wesson allows me to write a bi-weekly column. And one of my recent columns dealt with the responsible generation. The responsible generation. Now, what I mean by that is I identified the generation just as those who were born between the years 2005 and 2015. The young people born 2005 or 2015, somewhere between. Therefore, if you were born 2005, now 20 years old. If you were born 2015, you're just 10 years old. But I characterize that generation as being the responsible generation. Please hear me and hear me well and understand what I am saying. They are the responsible generation, not meaning they are responsible for what we are going through. They are going to be responsible for solving the problems that we are meeting in this day. When I say they are the responsible generation, I am not suggesting for a moment that they're responsible for, quote, the messes, unquote, we find ourselves in. But even while I will admit that it is unfair to them that they are responsible for solving the issues. That unfortunately is just how the matter goes. They did not volunteer to be responsible for some of the things that we are finding difficult to negotiate in today's world. But those of us who are my age, my being in my 80s, some just a little younger than I, should really apologize to the young people for, quote, the mess we're leaving them, unquote, because they are going to be responsible to solve it. Now, with saying all of that, again, as we await the Smart Club and Attorney Valencia brought us bringing it to us, please forgive me when we begin that aspect of the program for repeating much of what I am saying now. But the reason I will be repeating it is because I have to ask the young people who are in those years to give us some ideas about how they feel about things going on and what their responsibilities are for things coming and how they are going to approach. It is really interesting that when I looked at the generation that I designated between the years 2005 and 2015, there are 3 of those years where they are eligible to vote. So when you look at those who were born 2005 to 2008, when you look at those who are 18 to 20, you can indeed exercise your right to vote. But we have to admit, we have to ask their forgiveness that even young people who are too young to vote in today's world are being impacted by what those who are old enough to vote are doing, and unfortunately in some circumstances are not doing. I think about being an octogenarian, being in a position where I might just decide to relax a bit, and or relaxing as it relates to lifestyle and not having to negotiate all of the political, economic, educational, international relations that we are confronted with. We can just hand it over. And by the way, I do know that Valencia brought us in the Smart Club when they come in on today's program have in mind to indeed themselves introduce what they are doing and what they are attempting to do indeed to help us, because that older generation does indeed need help. That means that we look forward to their contribution on today's program. It is Waive Your Grades. We are asking American students to strive for excellence in honor of our troops, and we are suggesting that they wave more than the flag. This was and is, by the way, July 4th weekend. But we are not satisfied if we simply wave the flag, salute, play the proper songs, and stand at attention. Oh, no, no, no. We want our young people to waive your grades, to waive your leadership, to waive your community service, to waive your cooperation, to indeed, as they will be doing this afternoon, waive your accepting the responsibility to do something about those things with which we are confronted in this world today. Once again, I am Carl Boyd. I am your host. And one of the things that is really intriguing to me, I would have thought, in as much as I started teaching in 1964, that whatever conversation I might engage as it relates to education might be obsolete by now. If I were going to talk about schooling, I would be engaging a conversation that would suggest to somebody, let me tell you how it used to be. For that matter, now that I think about it, if I talked about race relations, if I talked about civil rights, if I talked about, quote, Jim Crow, if I talked about segregation, if I talked about deliberate, systemic racism. Now listen to all of those. I would have thought that I would be asking you to enjoy a conversation about the past that we would never revisit. Isn't that interesting? However, we are in the year 2025, celebrating Independence Day weekend, and we are in this day confronted with many of the not similar but same issues that we confronted during the civil rights movement. I am really enjoying so often when wonderful Wanda and I have the occasion to turn channels and look at history that is presented before us. I'm enjoying those opportunities where there are programs revisiting our history all the way back post Jim Crow, but indeed during the civil rights, that help us to be reminded that those things we thought we had dismissed not only are visiting us again, but in a more profound way. So, what do we do? Here again, how healthy are we at my age? How engaged are we, our generation, and perhaps a few after me? How are we going to address it, and how does it impact us? I want to say a profound thank you to our guests on today's program coming up for assuming responsibility and not waiting for me to coin the phrase the responsible generation, because I'm putting that on you just because it happens to be true, whether we appreciate it or not, because I'm telling you that when we look at things going on, and again, we have a technical difficulty on the program, and I wanted to make sure that I did not steal the thunder of Attorney Valencia Broadus and those who are with her, as they have shown the responsibility, without me ever having to say it, to address current events and how it impacts them. Cannot wait to engage those young people. And by the way, it looks like someone is with us now, so I'm going to ask that Attorney Valencia Broadus greet us on this Independence Day weekend. Attorney?
Hello, good morning, everyone.
Good
Valencia
morning.
Broadus, just checking in. It's good to see you, Mr. Boyd, as
Thank
always.
you.
And I was listening a little bit. I'm on the YouTube channel. Appreciate that. Hey,
Okay.
Mr. Boyd. And thank you all for resending the links to us. And we do have Anton on with us, and he'll turn his camera on shortly, and he'll introduce himself as well. I appreciated hearing about you speaking on the responsible generation. And I also appreciate your comments for saying that it's not that they are responsible for the problem. It's just that now the situation is in not just our hands, but their hands.
Yes,
and so
ma'am.
unfortunately, we got to figure it out together. We're going to talk about the problems, all day long, But what I always tell my students and everyone is like, great, the problems are here, but what are we going to do about them? And we have to, think on it and work on it together. And so that's one of the great things that the students, they've been, reading about some of the things that are happening and sharing information with their families, parents, friends. And we have some people listening on YouTube because I saw them there when I went on, and the families and stuff. And we just kind of want to hear a little bit about some of the things that our students have read, found out recently that's happening, and what they think about it. And of course, and family. So I do have a question regarding the YouTube. I was in there and I was wanting to like or at least share a thought and stuff like that. And it wouldn't let me like or anything because people might have comments in the YouTube. So if there's something that persons should do, can you all tell us about that? Because I am a subscriber and all that already, and normally we could do that. We could like and all that, but it didn't let me this time. So if there's something specific that watchers should do on YouTube, tell us, because I know that I'm listening and they are listening.
Thank you very, very much. And Louis George Walker to Quay Wilson.
Yeah, let me look. It should have a like, a thumbs up or a thumbs down. But I'm going to YouTube now.
All right. I don't know if you heard that, Attorney Broadus.
I did not.
Yeah,
Okay.
we're going to YouTube to take a look at that and see what.
Excellent. Okay. That's good. Yeah, and just tell us what to do, because I know that there's some parents on there that may want to share some thoughts as they hear things, because they're like, I didn't know about that. And that's why this is important. So many people, they didn't know about this, these votes, what's happening, how the process was working. And so as we're sharing, they're like, what's happening? And what are we going to do about it? And as I've shared with individuals, an unfortunate truth right now is that the bill has passed through the Senate, through the House. President has signed it. So, all the things that we're saying, different cuts and when they're going to come and stuff, it is right now happening. It is what it is. But people say, why do you say it is what it is? Because it's a fact that it's there. But again, what are we going to do to help ourselves through it, to cope through it, make lives as easy as we can for each other, figure out other resources, stuff like that. So That's what I want the young people to always think about. So what are you going to do? Because we're here, we still got to live, and we still got to, live our best lives as we can.
Yes. Here's
my
Louis George Walker.
All right. I'd like to let the families know, and all of you that are watching KUAW Radio, that on YouTube, if you go to the under the video, right under the video to your right, or to your left, excuse me, there's a thumbs up and a thumbs down indicator. Looks like a thumbs up and a thumbs down. Click on the thumbs up to like it. So we need more thumbs up. So when you look at your YouTube screen, under the video, there should be a thumbs up and a thumbs down indicator. You want to click on that thumbs up, and that's a like. Thank you.
Okay, got it. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Now, Attorney Broadus, as you indeed introduce us to your guests as they come on, if we are successful in doing that, please, I ask a favor of you. Will you ask each, as they introduce themselves, to name the year when they were born? I'm talking about this responsible generation.
Right.
And just want to see what years are represented.
Absolutely. And I know that, as you all know, I had some challenges getting in. So a couple of the students, I've sent the links, but they may not be able to get in. But we definitely have one with us right now. And the other, if they can, I know they'll keep trying and they'll come in. But Mr. Anton Hill, hello. Tell us.
How are you doing today?
Hello, Antoine.
Right.
How are you doing today?
Wonderful.
So, did you hear Mr. Boyd's first question? He said, tell him the year you were born.
Yeah, I was born in the year 2007.
7.
Yep.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, 2007.
2007.
Yes.
Yep.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
And he just graduated from high school, so he's got things to
Congratulations.
say.
Outstanding. Now
Thank
you're
you.
talking.
Thank
All right.
Excellent. So, one of the things that I'll kind of just jump in a little bit. I've been asking our students to just giving them pieces of the bill, different articles, so that they're reading about like what's going on, what's this bill is saying and stuff. And I was just asking them to be prepared today to give us at least one or two thoughts that they themselves, after reading it for themselves, like a thought they had, and it could be a thought that their family had as well. So,
Wow.
but Mr. Anton, after reading that stuff, and tell me something that you took from those articles, and it could be whatever you thought.
Oh, I can come up here. So, well, I feel like it's kind of selfish in a way, but at the same time, I feel like it's to help like a certain crowd of people, like if that makes sense.
Keep
So
talking.
no, yes. So tell me
Mhm.
why, because you said two good things, and so we'll break them both down, and with you if you'll let us. Why did you feel at first you said felt like something selfish was going on? Explain that a little bit.
I feel like it's selfish because like other people will be affected by it. Like other people will be affected by him doing that. So I feel like he don't think about like stuff like that. But at the same time, it helps a certain crowd of people. Like I don't know how to explain it, but basically like some people won't be affected by that in the right way. You know what I mean?
Yes. No, I know
Yeah.
exactly what you're saying. So, but what I'm going to do a little bit more is I'm going to, when we say he, I'm going to not just name a person. I'm going to say the president
Well, president, yeah.
and the administration. We don't want to say like his name because we're not here to dog him on, we're not
Yeah.
doing that. But through he and all the administration, all these votes, that they're definitely doing some things that are going to hurt some people. Do you remember one or two things that you were like, yeah, that's really going to hurt people? Was there anything you saw specifically that you were like, wow, that's bad?
The bill passed without a single Democratic vote. I feel like that was crazy because I feel like how can you vote or do something like pass a bill through without the people's like opinion, And
Yes.
I feel like that's selfish. That's why I say selfish too.
Because there was no like trying to work together with other people to do it. But guess what? That's what he said about us. He just said a few minutes ago, 20 minutes ago, I saw it before we got on.
That's
He
crazy.
said those Democrats, they're whatever, because and they said, oh my God, yes, he says because they hate Donald Trump. That's why they wouldn't vote for us. And then he said, I hate them too. And he shouldn't say he hates them too, but that's so and they're going to be using that on the campaign trail to say, look, America, the Democrats, this big, remember he calls it the big, beautiful bill, the OBBBA, the big, beautiful bill. And he's like, this big, beautiful bill that helping everybody. The Democrats, they don't like it because they hate Trump. And so your Democratic people, they wouldn't work with us. He's saying the Democrats are selfish. So let's do something a little more here. So the two sides didn't work together. But even more, but there's some reasons. Like why didn't, based on what you've read, what were some things that probably the Democrats, who are normally the voice for the people, middle and lower class people and minorities and stuff like that, what are some things that they disagreed with? What do you remember? Any one thing that you were like, the Democrats, who are for normally the middle and lower class people, what did they not like?
If I'm not mistaken, it was no, I don't remember. Let me see. Can I go looking back at it?
Oh, absolutely. And while you look
yes.
at I'll give you some thoughts while you look at it, and that's the great thing. because we do want you to go back and look and review. And so I appreciate that. I know we talked with you and even your mom at one point about some of the healthcare things that were in that bill, things that are going to be cut.
I do remember.
Tell me what you remember. Go ahead.
Oh, it was the Medicaid thing. I feel like that was I don't like that either. Like as me knowing what it is, I feel like I don't like that either. The Medicaid thing, the healthcare thing, I don't like that.
Yes, because when we think about healthcare, everybody should be able to at least have an opportunity to go to the doctor or get immunizations if you want them, or if you're sick, go get checked without. If you don't have the money, if you just can't go because he says, nope, we're not giving you any health care. What about, kids or people who are sick or all of that? So I know at some point we'll get deeper into it, because one of the things that we're doing, Mr. Boyd, is we're writing some articles for with Mr. Anton and Mr. TJ. We're writing health related articles for the Voice magazine with Miss Gooch, and then also just in general, excellent. We're working with the Kansas City Public Library as health professionals. We're starting to say, okay, these things are happening in the community. They're going to be impacted. So what can we begin to do just as people who care about these health issues? How can we be advocates out there watching and saying, if this is something we see people at the libraries, and there's 10 of them that they might need, and we'll be going to different libraries every Saturday morning. So that's why we're not there today, because it's 4th of July. That's the only reason. Otherwise, we would have been there this morning hanging out. But we're going and we're just looking at people that they might, be hungry. They might need a resource to a health provider. They might need a blood pressure check. We did a blood pressure screening a couple of months back with one of my community health worker classes, and we ended up, people's blood pressures were so high, we sent people to the hospital, and most of them didn't have a provider. And so just doing some simple things like that to at least be a resource where people will at least see us often enough and say, hey, you're here all the time. Can you help me? So, and our young leaders were excited that they're, wanting to be a part of that because they care about the health system. And so let's do this really quick. Mr. Anton, he's a graduate, and he's definitely wanting to go do some trade school to do computers and stuff. He's interested in health information systems. And how hospitals have all the networks and everything. And so we're excited to have him on board with us. To do that side of it, which is why the radio show is perfect for him. Because so tell us more, Mr. Anton, about you and just some of your computer work desires and production. Just tell us about you, so that we all know.
I can start from the beginning. With me, I always like games. Like I always play video games, and then when I got older, I started to get into computers. And then I just fell in love with them. And then I took a class for it. I took a bunch of different classes, but the main one that I stuck with me was the computer class that I took. And they taught me how to build computers from inside out. I can take a computer case and put all the parts inside. I feel like it's an art in a sort, and I love it. So yeah, I can't really explain too much, because it's just something that I like to do. It's what's the word that I'm looking for? It's kind of it's soothing for me. Computers, I just like numbers. I love numbers. Math class was always my favorite thing. So yeah, I feel like it just falls in line. Everything falls in line. Yeah.
This is good. And I know that you have not talked to Mr. George Walker yet, who is the founder and producer of the radio station. But he does, coding and robotics and stuff like that. And so I know you've been at the radio show, live in there before with us over the years. But I wanted to make sure, again, that from the radio side, he wants
This is
to
good.
do some of the things like Miss Heaven does. He wants to come in and learn to, do the
Oh,
production stuff because he does it. He does music production. He does board stuff,
Mhm.
but he wants to do computers. So I'm like, well, you need to be one of the co-hosts on the radio show this summer. So that's what I told him. So,
And I would
and
love
he
to do
said
that.
yes. So,
Mhm.
but we'll get you down there to meet Mr. George Walker over the summer and,
Yes.
see if you can help him in some way. So,
Yeah, if you can
okay,
come in on the
I know he's
weekend,
listening.
we would
Good.
appreciate it. Yes. Thank you. Glad to hear that. And yeah, we've got some
Yeah.
computers that actually need some hard drives installed and a little more RAM, and that may be something that you can start working on. Have Valencia get in touch with us. I'll be out of touch for probably the 1st of August would be a good time. Last of July, 1st of
Okay.
August. And he's
It's actually kind of crazy that you said the hard drive stuff because that's what's wrong with my computer right now. It's actually the hard drive. It just had a malfunction, and I feel like for some people like that sounds like hard to do, like replace a hard drive. But for me, it's like kind of like easy. Like that's what I'm
Easy.
saying. I find it like soothing. Like I love it.
All right.
Wonderful.
Well, we'd love to talk with you, and that's we'll be getting in touch.
Yes,
Sounds great.
we'll get his resume sent over, to you, and then Mr. Boyd, I see you came off, so you have a question, and then I'll tell you a little bit more about how he's going to be helping us, meaning Mr. Anton, at the library specifically in this arena. So please give us some thoughts, Mr. Boyd. What you thinking?
well, let me ask a question. If you heard, and this is for our young man, I am so encouraged by Brother Antoine and so appreciative that he would come on and share with us. And I don't want to oversimplify, but I'm interested in young people Antoine's age. Here is such a simple term, just want to get a response. You have heard of nutrition assistance. So if there were a way to supplement nutrition, assist someone in that program, do you think that's a good idea? Do you think there are easy ways to do that?
I'm not aware or I'm not sure of what you mean by nutrition assistance.
Good.
But like, what you mean by like,
Helping
like-
people eat.
oh yeah, I would love to do that. Yeah.
So if you could do that, how quickly would you like to do it? How long do you think it would take? Do you think it would be hard, or do you think it would be easy?
To be honest, I think it would be easy well, or I'm not gonna say easy because I feel like with work it becomes like obstacles and it's always gonna happen with just working. So what I would say is I feel like it'll just be like something that would help me in the future.
Ooh.
So yeah, I would love to do that. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And Attorney Broadus, what do you say to that response? Because this is a conscientious young man.
Right. So I'm interested with your question. I wasn't clear on the question, so I didn't know if you were asking him about like SNAP and what he thought about those being taken away, or if you were asking him about his idea in general about how to feed people and how he would do it. So if you could restate for me the question, because I didn't understand.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
And as a matter of fact, you spoke directly, specifically to what I'm talking about.
Okay.
SNAP is a supplemental nutrition assistance program. That's what SNAP is. Here is a young man who is looking at this bill that was just passed
Yes.
that adversely affects SNAP, so that his generation, once again, is going to be responsible for getting that back in order. And I was just interested from Antoine's perspective, and he answered it perfectly for me, how good an idea that is, and how willing he might be to help continue that program, or when they remove it, help us get such a program back again.
Gotcha. And thank you for that clarification, because then when Mr. Anton said, okay, good, I think it'll be easy to be, and because it's important. So I think about some steps, making sure that all of our young leaders, know when we're doing programs, whether it's advocacy, and some of that, getting the programs back will include making sure that we are advocating getting enough people back elected in the U.S. House and the Senate so that they can vote to overturn it. And so that's one piece. If you mean SNAP specifically, because the way that the president and the way that it is right now,
yes,
it's law. So I want to make sure that we're giving Mr. Anton and other people listening. So what is a route to that? Because I've talked with my daughter and some others about, even though it won't go in effect tomorrow, it's only supposed to, some of these requirements and stuff where they're making people, if they get Medicaid or SNAP, any of that, in order to keep getting it, and they'll have to work, volunteer, or go to school 80 hours a month. So it's law. It's going to happen. But to get that turned over, if we don't like it, because we're going to see if it works for a year, or when it goes into effect, basically right after the midterms. So after we have voted either to get people in or out or whatever, it's going to go into effect in 2026. And they're hoping that we forget about it, So it's important that, being that it isn't going into effect tomorrow, we may not see that right away. So to me, helping to overturn it or get it back means staying diligent on making sure that we keep this problem in front of us enough, and we don't forget in November of 2026, oh yeah, we don't like that. So that's that part.
Now
the second go ahead. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
The second thing I think about is there's been a lot of writing in some of the articles that I sent to Mr. Anton and to TJ. It talked about, with those requirements, they were in effect back in 2017. The first time this current president was the president, he did that back then, and they didn't work in a bunch of the states because a lot of the individuals that first, a lot of people, if they were already, disabled, they couldn't work. But what also happened with a lot of the quote unquote able-bodied people, that they were like, you need to go and, just get a job, and you need to get that one right there, get that job. People, they didn't have GEDs, they didn't have resumes, they didn't have skills, they didn't have anything. So then when the deadline came up, they weren't ready. So they got kicked off of food stamps, Medicaid, TANF, and then they were no better off because there was no equipping them along the way to make sure that once the deadline came, they were ready. So I think one of the things that we all can begin doing now is making sure that we're telling everybody we know, this is going to happen.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
In 2026. So what are you doing now to take advantage of, whether it's health, nursing and business classes, or what are you doing now to get yourself equipped? You need to go ahead and get that GED or finish high school. Like, let's get these things. Let's get your resume ready. Let's, work on your work etiquette and all that. Get a CNA quickly. What can we do right now for the people who, more than likely, based off of it, and they made it clear who they're going to try to get off. And if we know people, yeah, that might be you. Well, let's help them if they want the help. Gotta remember that too. Everybody may not want help, but those who want the help, for real, help them to look, get ready, do something, because what we found when people got kicked off back in that 2017, 18 time, it was really bad. People lost their houses because they just they weren't people weren't hiring them because everyone they don't want to just hire you just because you're a body. The employers are not doing that now. They really need you to be able to do a return on investment. They need to make sure they want to know that you're going to be first reliable, showing up, all that work ethic stuff, reliable, responsive, and responsible. And, so we got a year where our young leaders can help us to, make sure everybody they know is registered to vote and all that. And, doing enough of these shows and articles to make sure we're saying, okay, this is happening. Did you know this is coming up soon? All that. But we got to make sure they're equipped to get in that job market.
Ooh, now let me do this, please. Let me ask Antoine your last name, please.
Hill, Hill.
Thank you very, very much, Antoine Hill. And let me tell you, my dear young brother Antoine Hill, I would love to call today's program the Antoine Hill program. Now, let me explain why you are so very, very important. And Sister DeQuay, Attorney Valencia, I would pray that people would pay particular attention to Antoine Hill. Let me tell you why. Antoine, you're 18, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now here is an 18-year-old young man who has observed what has gone on in the passage of this bill about which many people are talking. But if there was one thing that came clear to this 18-year-old, to this new voter, was that the bill was absolutely determined 100% along party lines. Now, even though there were 2 Republicans who voted no, this young man has observed how peculiar a system we have, that we can so blatantly vote along party lines that those on one side or the other don't even have to explain themselves. So a young man like Antoine would have to ask, as he comes into the voting ranks, am I going to be voting strictly along party lines for the rest of my responsible generation life? Or can we be honest enough with each other so that there are variations on the theme? This is the Antoine Hill Show. I don't blame him for asking that question. So I see you smiling, Attorney Broadus. Please go right ahead.
It's exciting. One of the things that we get excited about with the Smart Career Club is we focus heavily, and we have for over 20 years, on making sure our young leaders can read, write, critical think, speak, and really kind of digest information and put it like we're doing now, just really public radio and conversations. And so I smile because Anton he's an example of just that. He was one of our McClinton scholars 4 years ago.
Amen.
When we started KUAW and financial literacy and all that stuff. And he's self-taught in all that computer stuff because he stayed hungry on, I want to learn these things. And then he had, his mom, family backing him. He had us. He was in the career kitchen. And he was so amazing and personable. He was our host at the career kitchen down there at the church. So just watching him, listening to him, and just being proud that he is representative of the Smart Career Club. And I just wanted to just say that.
Hold on a moment. I just want to ask Brother Louis George Walker a question. This just speaks to my naivete. But Brother Walker, Attorney Valencia Broadus, in speaking of Antoine Hill, said that he is computer literacy self-taught. Is
That's
that
excellent.
the usual thing?
Well, if it's not usual, it's not uncommon though.
Right.
There are a lot of people that take advantage of the fact that you have these things in front of you we call computers, and some of us like to dig inside. Anton might have been the one that tore up the radios and stuff at home trying to see how they work inside. I don't know for sure, but a lot of times it didn't just start maybe with computers. He maybe was curious for a while. And then as you can direct that into something that can be a career.
Yes, sir.
That can move forward. And, I'm not saying that he's going to stay with computers. AI is coming along. There's a lot going in there.
Sure.
Or he may take to racing cars and designing, engines and stuff like that. But there's that curiosity will lead you to do a lot more on your own.
Yes.
Because if you're forced to do it, it becomes a job.
Okay.
If you like to do it, it can become a career.
Well, let me ask this, and please, Attorney Broadus, let me do this. I'll turn it back to you. But in as much as this afternoon is the Antoine Hill Show, let me ask Antoine a question. At what age did you begin to deal with the technology, computers specifically, and do you like it as much now as when you first started dealing with it?
Yes, and it's actually kind of crazy that he said I could have started off with the radios and stuff, because that's actually is how I found out how to use the computers. It was my controllers. I used to break my controllers and I used to just try to put them back together. I used to with my old computer. We also in the class we built our own computer so we could learn how to use them. But I built my own computer after that so I could figure out more. I stayed kind of curious, so I feel like I do still love it the same. Yeah. The only difference is it's just easier. It got kind of easier the more I did it.
So you still like it as much as when you started?
I love it. It just I have different skills with computers now. I could do music production, engineering. I could do stuff like that with computers. So now it's just I'm trying to get into coding more, because I can build the computer. That's kind of easy, but I just gotta learn a little bit more. I feel like I'll master it. I want to master it.
Did you say it's kind of easy?
Yeah, a little bit.
Oh, Lord. That is so good.
Yeah.
Wow. Yes,
That's
sir.
exciting.
Okay. I am a teacher. I started teaching 7th and 8th grade in 1964. And I was looking at a Black History program on television. And I had Black History books that I read page to page. Can a computer help me study Black history?
It can I feel like you could do your research all on the computer, but only thing I can tell you is you will want to dig kind of deeper and know what you're looking up, because sometimes they can tell you the wrong stuff.
George Walker is shaking his head. Please go ahead, attorney.
I said no, AI and everything else can tell you the wrong stuff. So it's interesting. Well, kind of as we're going to be wrapping up here in a moment, I want to definitely kind of mention that segue that we're Mr. Anton, his big role. No, you're great with the libraries is going to be as we're there observing, watching. So many people need help with the computers. Looking up stuff, researching stuff, younger, older, etc. And so he's going to be one of the persons helping us help people at the libraries to just navigate the computers because and he's good with people as well. He's good with computers, and he's good with people. And so that's something that we're excited so he can teach other people the little stuff, because that's a big deal with the Medicaid and everything now. You got to apply online. You have to do now more reports online with everything.
Mm-hmm.
Apply for jobs online. So he's going to be helping us to help the library with stuff like that. So just so you know what you're doing over the summer.
All right. One more quick question for Brother Antoine. And Antoine, we appreciate you so much this afternoon.
I appreciate you too.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Do you find that many of your peers enjoy interacting with the technology as much as you, or at least to a degree?
To a degree, because I feel like it's to a certain extent, because most people they use computers for like video games, and I feel like that's fine. But I feel like I use it for a different purpose. I feel like it's what I love. Like yeah.
This is
And
good.
then it's like most people don't really know how to work them. So I feel like that's where I come in. Like everything will play a role. Everything that I'll be doing
Ooh.
this whole summer, everything will play a role in me going where I want to go in life.
Outstanding. DeQuay, did you have a here back to Attorney Valencia brought us? So you were talking about winding down. So please.
Oh no, that was that main thing, but the library, but then also Mr. Anton, he does want to do, AI, you mentioned that. He wants to get deeper into with the healthcare industry. He's definitely interested in construction and automotive type stuff. So even as Mr. Walker mentioned, some of that, we're going to be doing more and more and more exploration around that stuff, and then more computer classes, certifications that he can get, so he can continue to catch that dream and make it grow. But he's already caught the dream. We're just going to help him make it grow now. So that's pretty
Outstanding. Cannot thank you enough. Cannot thank Antoine Hill enough. And as we continue, as a matter of fact, this is the first Saturday in the month of July. And you mentioned public library and some other things. Anything going on a continuous basis during the summer that someone visiting YouTube might want to contact you about?
the main thing over the summer. We focus heavily just with the young people, and they're working and stuff like that. So nothing major happening. We already have our group that we're working with for the summer. So we won't be doing a lot of outside extra stuff. We'll just be at the library pretty much every Saturday. It's like, 9:30, 10 until 11:30, observing, helping people. And that's just going to be our ongoing thing for the summer. And then we'll be writing articles and doing whatever we can to help them. We have a couple of kids going to college. So we have 2 college visits we're going to be taking students and their families on, and just different stuff like that.
Yes.
Summer is a time when we focus heavily on those, now really gearing those students up, especially who have graduated, for that real next step. The kind of that adulting 101 stuff for real, whether it's college, career, whatever.
Yes,
Focus
ma'am.
on them and really just pour into them and get them ready. So that come August, when we do our new career year, then we'll have programs that we'll tell people about them.
Thank you very, very much. Someone who wants to contact Attorney Valencia Broadus, what is your favorite contact?
Oh, it is 816-612-1083, and texting is always the best way.
Yes, indeed. Thank
And
you
I'll say
so
it.
very, very much, Attorney Valencia Broadus. Thank you very, very much for allowing us to
And I
have
have
the
one more thing I wanted to say.
I'm sorry.
Go
say
ahead.
I
that
wanted
again.
to appreciate Ms. Valencia and all of you for the opportunity.
Wow. What a wonderful young man. We appreciate you so much and look forward to following your leadership. Thank you.
Thank you all so much. Thank you, Mr. Boyd. And
All
thank you,
right.
Anton, for coming on and talking with a big old smile. I appreciate
Okay.
it.
Last week it was Wave Your Grades. Today, the Antoine Hill Show. Here is DeQuay Wilson.
I would like to thank Mr. Hill. You have been truly a pleasure to listen to today. But also, really quick, I do want to remind our 7th through 12th grade students that you can win a monetary award from our sponsoring organization. Please email academicpatriotism@gmail.com for inquiry or submission for your essay. If it's chosen and submitted by an adult who gives you permission to read it on this Wave Your Grades program, you will be awarded a monetary prize. The essay can be about absolutely anyone. I want to thank our listeners, our viewers, our guests and our hosts for joining us on your Stoots for Boots Wave Your Grades program. We come to you live every Saturday from 1 until 2 p.m. Central Standard Time from the W.E.B. Du Bois Learning Center right here in Kansas City, Missouri. I am your announcer, DeQuay Wilson. Now our host will close with his morning message his daily message for students in honor of our veterans from his book, Morning Messages.
To students across the USA, your Stoots for Boots message for this day, July 5th. American students, you are good. Thank you so very, very much. Antoine Hill, Attorney Valencia Broadus, DeQuay Wilson, and Louis George Walker. My name is Carl Boyd, gracious God and wonderful Wanda. I'm on my way home.
All right. Have a great one. Bye-bye.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.